Welcome to 2015. I'm your host for today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. We have a great show lined up for you today. Our special guest is Chief Dennis Knight of the Troup County Fire Department. So stay tuned because you're about to watch Smoke Signals. Welcome back. Today we have with us special guest, Chief Dennis Knight of the Troup County Fire Department. Hello, Chief, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Chris. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in today and talk a little bit about emergency preparedness. Glad to be here.
All right, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show today, and especially on the new year to kick everything off. And I hope your holiday season was a pleasant one, and of course, as we know, once the holidays is over, it's time to get back to work.
Time to get back to work, yes sir it is.
All right, now I know you have a lot of great information to share with our viewing audience today, but before we get into that, if you could, just tell us a little bit about your background, how long you've been in the fire service, and what are your roles and responsibilities with Troup County Fire Department?
Well, I began in the fire service in 1985 as a volunteer with Troup County Fire Department.
Okay.
And chose it to be a full-time career in 1988, and I've been there ever since.
Okay.
Currently serving as fire chief.
Okay, sounds good. And what are some of your roles? And I'm quite sure, being the fire chief, you have several roles that you have to perform. But if you could just kind of tell us a little bit about your day-to-day activity.
Basically, just manage the daily activities of the department.
Okay.
Budgeting, personnel.
Okay.
Just managing the department on a daily basis.
Okay. All right. So we talked before the show about some of the very important topics that we wanted to discuss. Some are recaps of 2014 and then things that you're looking forward to in the year 2015. So before we get into some of those, let's talk about Emergency Management Agency. What is actually the Emergency Management Agency?
Well, each county in the state has an emergency management agency. And basically here in Troup County, emergency management, or EMA, is tasked with a number of things. Our main concern is preparing for, responding to, and recovering from disasters, whether they be natural or man-made.
Okay.
And there's a lot involved in that process. We really divided up into 4 areas: mitigation, planning, response, and recovery.
Okay.
The mitigation and the planning, of course, takes place before the disaster, before the event.
Right.
And the response and the recovery takes place after the event.
Okay. All right. So extensive information and extensive planning goes into an EMA operation, and of course, when you talk about the agency itself, it covers a county. So, you know, we have, excuse me, we have pretty much 3 different municipalities in our county, and EMA is the umbrella of all 3 of those municipalities, correct?
That's correct, Chris. Actually, EMA is more of a coordinating agency. We just help coordinate all the other first responders, volunteer organizations, even some business and industry in the response to and preparing for natural disasters, man-made disasters. There's not a large EMA staff that works here in Troup County.
Right.
It's basically just a coordination effort.
Okay. All right. Now, we'll talk about, of course, having an EMA department, you have to have an EMA director. And if you could, just talk a little bit about the roles and responsibilities of an EMA director.
Again, it's just a coordinator.
Okay.
And I guess it's my job to try to make sure that people take emergency preparedness seriously.
Right.
The citizens of Troup County and all 3 municipalities, local government, business, industry, just to make sure that we take the time to prepare for different types of emergencies.
And when you talk about different types of emergencies, we have seen all sorts just here in our community alone. When you think about, you know, national trends and state trends, and then you also got to take in consideration your local trends as well. So we've had our share of emergency incidents here in the Troup County area, and you know, want to thank the EMA agency for, you know, being an integral part in, you know, preparing us as much as possible when we do have certain type of incidents. What are some EMA projects that were completed in 2014?
2014, the county adopted an updated hazard mitigation plan. That's a plan that we update every 4 to 5 years. And we also participated in a number of exercises in 2014. We're required to participate in at least 3 exercises per year. And I believe we participated in 4 last year.
Okay.
And of course, our local emergency operations plan is under constant review.
Right.
We pull a group of people together once a month from all the different cities, local agencies, and discuss emergency preparedness and different things that we can do to make Troup County more prepared for any type of emergency.
Okay. Now with the you talk about the hazard plan. Is there generally any feedback from outside agencies or municipalities to put together that plan, or you know, you just utilizing just local resources? How does that work as far as the mitigation plan is concerned?
With the mitigation plan, we form a committee, and it's made up from various people throughout the community, to include the school system, local governments from LaGrange, Hogansville, West Point, and Troup County, and some different public safety representatives.
Okay, all right. Now, what are some ongoing projects as we've phased out the 2014 year and we're going into the 2015? So what we have right now that's still on the tables?
2015 will be an exciting year. We're going to continue with the hazard mitigation plan, get it adopted countywide. We're also in the planning stages for a couple of different exercises. One is an area exercise. The other is a statewide exercise that we hope Troup County can participate in. And of course, this year we start the major update of our local emergency operations plan. So that would be a large undertaking.
Okay, good. Now, emergency preparedness. We can't say enough about emergency preparedness because this is not a seasonal thing. This is something that is every day because it's a part of our lives. But what's even more important is, you know, people need to take emergency preparedness seriously, especially when there's information that is given out, whether it's via the newspaper or on the news or the internet, so that they'll know what safety precautions to take when there is an emergency situation that takes place in your geographical area or outside of your geographical area. So right now we're in the winter season, so let's talk about some emergency preparedness precautions for the winter season that you would like for our viewing audience to take heed to.
Well, some great tips for the winter season. Number one, make sure your home's well insulated. That way you can keep it warm. We had some sub-freezing temperatures last week, and it really helps if your home is well insulated. Weather stripping around windows and doors. Try to keep as much heat as you can inside the home. If you heat with anything other than electricity, you need to have a working carbon monoxide detector in your home. It's very important. Carbon monoxide is odorless, you can't smell it. So the only way to know that if it's present is to have a working carbon monoxide detector. So I want to encourage everybody to have that. Stay informed. Take the time to watch the weather. That way you're not caught unexpected when bad weather does come. Whether it be freezing rain, sleet, snow, or just cold temperatures like we had a while back. Take care of your pipes. Take care of your pets.
Definitely got to take care of those pets.
Yes, absolutely. And take care of your neighbors and your family.
Now, we've been hearing about the flu season being a very productive season, especially here in the state of Georgia. Anything that you would like to, tell our viewing audience about the flu season and some precautions they need to take in that regard?
The best precaution is just make sure we wash our hands often during flu season. That way we don't transfer those germs from one place to another.
Right.
Flu is a very serious problem. On average each year there's about 30,000 deaths from the flu.
Wow.
So it's very serious. It can easily lead to other complications.
Right.
And cause death. So.
Okay, and fires. We can't go without saying anything about fires during the winter season. What are some precautions we definitely need to take where fires are concerned?
Well, of course, we want to make sure we have working smoke detectors throughout the home, especially near the sleeping areas. And just be careful with your heating appliances. If you use space heaters, make sure you keep a clear space, 3 to 4 feet around the space heater.
Right.
No combustible materials around the space heaters. If you burn wood at home, make sure you burn seasoned wood so you don't have problems with your chimneys catching fire.
Right.
And just be careful.
And also I'd like to add to that, some people use untraditional means of trying to stay warm during the winter season, especially inside of the homes using ovens and things of that nature, their stoves. And of course that is not a safe practice to utilize to use as supplemental heating. So we want our viewing audience to understand that it's important to know that, utilize the heating that is safe for one, and also that is not going to cause any other hazards inside of your home. So I want to make sure that people understand that using your ovens is not a safe practice, and it should never be done.
You're right, Chris. It is not a safe practice. Neither is using a barbecue grill or anything else inside the home. You should only use proper heating appliances.
Definitely. And then of course during this winter season, always to take consideration, like Chief Knight said, make sure that you monitor the weather and use a NOAA weather radio, which is very important to have in your home.
Absolutely. One of the best ways to keep up with changing weather conditions is having a NOAA weather radio. There's 29 transmitters throughout the state of Georgia. It covers 98% of the population. If you have a working NOAA weather radio in your home, you get notified of inclement and severe weather at the same time that I do, and the 911 center and everyone else. So
right.
Just like smoke detectors, I would like to encourage every single person to have a working NOAA weather radio in their home.
Okay, sounds good, and that's good advice. So keep those things in mind, and I think we're ready for a quick break. So when we return, we'll have more here with Chief Dennis Knight of Troup County Fire Department. Welcome back. We've been talking with Chief Dennis Knight of Troup County Fire Department about a lot of great information concerning the Emergency Management Agency and emergency preparedness. And Chief, like we were saying in the first segment, we can't talk about emergency preparedness enough, because that is a part of our everyday lives. But one thing we want to discuss before we go on to other topics, what kind of emergency supplies a person will need to have either in their home or in their vehicle during the weather season, and as far as emergency preparedness?
Well, part of emergency preparedness is having a kit, a ready kit.
Okay.
Supplies that will help you get through any type situation. And there's a number of things that can be included in your ready kit for the winter season. In your car, you could have a set of jumper cables. The cold weather affects the batteries in cars sometimes.
Right.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to have some blankets or a sleeping bag in the trunk in case you are stranded or have mechanical problems on the side of the road. That way you can stay warm.
Right.
Some people recommend having some sand in case you get in an icy situation to help give you traction to get back on the road. So a number of things, flashlights, check the batteries, good batteries in the flashlights. A lot of the items in a basic ready kit would help out in the winter season. And the kit's just part of it. We need to have a plan, a family plan on what we do for any type of emergency. And in that plan, we also need to have an out-of-town contact person. That way, if the phone system here is not that reliable, if you are able to get through, you can call that out-of-town friend or family member and let them know where you're at and that you're okay. And as your other family members call this same person, he can relay the information that you are okay and where you're at. So have an out-of-town contact and have all the information that you may need to reach your family and friends in case of an emergency. Work numbers, school numbers, home phone numbers, and just have a really good plan. The next part is having a kit, putting a kit together. Lots of things can be bought locally to put together your emergency kit. You want to have enough water for each family member on hand to last about 3 days. So that's about 3 gallons a person to last you 3 days. Non-perishable food items, 3 days worth of food for each person in your family. If you have canned goods, you want to make sure you have a manual can opener. That way if the power's out, you can still open the cans. Radios, battery operated radios. If the power's out for an extended time, you can get some good information listening to the radio, but it needs to be battery operated. Again, flashlights with extra batteries are very important. We always want to avoid using candles when the power's out for lighting, because of the fire hazard. So it's best to use flashlights. Simple first aid kit. In case you have minor injuries, you could take care of those with a simple first aid kit. Any medications that anybody in the family might need. Even a whistle for signaling. That way if responders get close to you but they don't see you and you need to signal them, you can use the whistle to get their attention. And there's lots of great information available on the web at ready.ga.gov. They have a checklist that you can put together your own Ready kit. They have blank forms you can use to create your family emergency plan. So it's a lot of information available. That's ready.ga.gov. And the final part of emergency preparedness is staying informed. And we talked about that earlier, how try to pay attention to the weather, know what's expected, have the weather radio, have the battery operated radio that you can get information on. So have a plan, get a kit, stay informed. That's what we need to do to stay prepared.
Sounds good. And to reiterate to what you said, whether you're at home or away from home in a vehicle, you always want to make sure you have those essentials that you need, and not only just for yourself, but each and every person that may be with you at the time during whatever hazard that you may be faced with. Communication is always an important thing. Having a cell phone, battery fully charged, a charger readily available, and snacks, especially if you're in a vehicle. Have some kind of snacks available, because it may be a while before you can get a chance to get to some food somewhere, depending on how far away you are, how long you're stranded. So, make sure you keep those things in mind as well. Now, one of the topics that we want to discuss, and this is a topic that we're very familiar with, and that's severe weather. And of course, we're approaching Severe Weather Awareness Week. So if you could tell us a little bit about that and some of the activities that's going to be going on during that week.
Yes, Severe Weather Awareness Week is coming up in February. And of course, part of Severe Weather Awareness Week is a statewide tornado drill. And we just want to encourage everyone to be prepared for severe weather that may affect our area this spring. We want to remember that thunderstorms are dangerous also. That if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So you need to seek shelter during a thunderstorm. Tornadoes, we have a outdoor warning siren system throughout the county to get people's attention if they're outdoors. If they're indoors, we hope that they have a radio, television, or a working weather radio to notify them if they're indoors. You need to remember the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning.
Yes, that's very important.
Tornado watch means conditions are favorable for the development of a tornado. A tornado warning means that a tornado has been spotted or has been indicated on radar and you need to seek shelter.
Okay, sounds good. Now, let's double back. 2014, we had an active severe weather season. So if you could kind of tell us a little bit about, from EMA, how many different types of incidents that EMA had to be involved in 2014 as far as severe weather?
2014, we did have a short track tornado that touched down in the northern end of the county. Thankfully, it was not a densely populated area, although there were a number of homes that were affected by the storm.
Right.
We also had severe thunderstorms with frequent cloud to ground lightning, which is the dangerous type of lightning.
Right.
And it caused a number of homes to incur damage from lightning strikes. And that was really the two that impacted us the most. We did have a couple of severe storms with straight line winds. No tornadoes involved, but still strong winds that caused some damage. Minor flooding. We have had flooding issues in the past.
Yes.
That could happen again with the torrential rains. And one of the things that I want to remind everybody is if you're driving and you come to an area where the water has flooded the road and you can't see the road, is not to try to drive through the water.
Right.
You don't know what is under the surface of the water. The road may have been washed away. So we always say turn around, don't drown.
Okay.
So don't try to drive through floodwaters.
Good point there. Yeah, because like you said, flooding is probably the number one disaster that causes injury and deaths around the country. And people need to take heed to that, because you just because it looks like you can drive over it doesn't mean you can.
That's
and
right.
if there's any doubt, like you said, turn around and find another route.
That's right.
So, okay. So we've covered Severe Weather Awareness Week, and we thank you for those tips and those activities that's going on during that week. Any other additional information that you may have, or any closing remarks?
In closing, Chris, I just want once again to encourage everybody to visit ready.ga.gov.
Okay.
Lots of information there that will help them develop their ready kits and make their ready plans. There's some videos that shows what other people have in their kits, maybe give you some ideas.
Right.
There's checklists available you can print off. And like I said, most of the equipment in your ready kit can be purchased locally.
And we wanted to go back and reiterate, we talk about winter weather, cold weather situations. Our senior adults, we always want to make sure that our senior adults are checked on periodically, because they can't handle the cold weather like most of us can. And it's important to establish some kind of dialogue or relationship with aunt, uncle, grandmother, mother, whoever it may be that is a senior adult that may not have the best living conditions, but someone needs to check on them periodically, because the last thing you want to happen is they have no connection with anyone, and you find them deceased later on, and that's not good for anyone.
Yes, we do need to keep a check on our elderly, and if my grandmother lives closer to you, Chris, it might be where you check on my grandmother. That way I don't have to try to drive across town in the severe weather to try to check on them.
Right.
So we have to check on our neighbors, make sure they're safe.
Exactly. Well, Chief, you gave us a wealth of information today, and we thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come out and be with us on the show. And we look forward to seeing you in the future with some other topics of concern, and continue to do a great job in your roles and responsibilities with Troup County Fire Department, as well as the Emergency Management Agency.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
All right. And we'd like to thank you, viewing audience, for watching another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.